LeetCode Problem 347, Top K Frequent Elements. So this problem gives us an array of integers, nums, and an integer k. So the problem wants us to return the k most frequent element in any order. So what this means is, let's say for this example, right? So you have 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, right? And k is 2. And since they want the k most frequent element, so which means the most frequent element sorted, which in this case will be 1, 1, 1, and then followed by 2, 2, and then followed by 1, 3. So like 3 1s, 2 2s, and 1 3s. And k is 2, so we return the top two, basically. Top two most frequent one, which is in this case will be 1 and 2. So I have two approaches to this problem. The first approach was to use a priority queue, right? So because priority queue helps us sort the key in descending order, which helps us pop the topmost k elements for the output. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, I have an unordered map here. So this unordered map is to group all of the numbers together and have a frequency counter. So what this means is, let's say I have this unordered map, and my example is this. So in this case, the number and frequency of the first element will be 1, and then 1, and then on to the next iteration, this one, then it will increase 1, next one it will increase, so 3, and on this one, you will create a new key with called 2, and be 1, increase, so it will be 2, and then 3 will be 1. So our unordered map will look like this. And then for this for loop is basically used to push all of these into a priority queue. And the way I push it was I make a pair where the frequency, becomes the key instead of the pair. So it's sorted based on the frequency. So even though, let's say I have something like this, right? When it pushes, it will push like this. So 3 1, 1 3, right? Because it's parallel second, which is frequency. And when it pushes the next element, which is 1 3, since 3 is higher than 1, it will be on top. The priority queue will sort itself, right? And I'll have something like this. Right, so this is what my priority queue will look like if my elements inside the unordered map is like this. But since in this example, actually the example is still the same. Yeah, so it will be 3 1, 2 2, and then 1 3. Right, so that's for pushing all of the elements inside the map into a priority queue so that it sorts itself based on the value, which is the frequency, in descending order. And then this final for loop is for generating the output. So in this line here, I made a vector that has a size of k, which in this case is 2. Right, so let's say k is 2. And what it will do is put out, which is the top part of out, right? And I want the second one, which is 1. Right, so my output will be, so it will output first iteration, output 1, k is 0, right? So right now my output looks like this, right? Because I initialize k of size 2, so it will have empty, and the numbers inside will be 0, defaulted to 0. And the first one would be 1, right? You'll pop it, so this is removed. I'm just gonna draw an X here. This will be removed, and the second element is put inside, so it's 2. So that's how this algorithm works. It's pretty efficient. And the next approach I had was to use a map. So a bit cheaty because in map all operations are actually O and log n, right? So the insertion, finding the element, whatnot are all O and log n. But the reason why we use a map is because map sorts the key in ascending order, and we can use that to our advantage. So in this example, notice here we have two numbers that have three frequencies, so 1 and 2. So on unordered map will look like this: 1 3 2 3 and 3 3 is the same algorithm as the one used on top, right? So this is the num, this is the frequency, and I made a mistake here, it should be 1. So this is what our unordered map will look like. And then we push it to our map. So in the map, how we do this is, in the map, the key is actually an integer, and the value of the key is a vector, right? So a list, so to say. So so we push into the map where the key is the frequency, right? And then the vector is actually the numbers. So frequency and then the vector. So for this example, it will look like this, like 3, and then in this vector you have number 1, and on the next iteration, since 3 is already an existing key, you just push back here, and then for the last 3, since it's only 1, it will be like this 3. And in map, the keys are sorted in ascending order, so this is what our final map will look like. The last for loop is to iterate through the map from the back, right? So R begin, reverse begin means the iterator starts from the back. And then inside from the back, the value that we're interested in, for every number inside of that vector, we will push it into our output, right? So this if statement basically checks if our output size, which right now is 0, is less than k, which let's say k is equals to 2, for example, right? So k equals to 2, so it will push back this, right? So for every number in the back of the vector, which is back is here, for every number inside the vector, so it will push back 1, and then check. It is not. 1 does not equals to 0, 1 does not equals to 2, and then you continue on for the next number, which is 2. Right, so you push back. And in this case, since output size is 2 and k is 2, they equal to each other, so output is returned. But let's say if k equals to 3, then this for loop ends, right? Since there's no more number inside the vector, you move to the next one, which is this, and then you push 3 inside. So that's how my second approach works. That's all I have to show. Thanks.